very different from anything that we've listened to, but I just think that it's such a beautiful arrangement, the way that it is put together.
You can tell when somebody's going to be famous. That is going to be so massive one day. Because I don't listen to that kind of stuff, and I'm like, this is sick.
It's the type of thing I feel like personally where even if you aren't into that style of music, you can appreciate how well put together it is.
Oh yeah, it's like, how do you hate the soundtrack of a movie that you're just like watching? That seems like one of those like love bits, compilation scene type things, and it's like, that's perfect for that. You cannot not like that.
Or it's like also the perfect soundtrack to just being in a coffee shop.
Yeah. Time-lapse coffee shop conversation.
Or I mean, you personally are just listening to it in a coffee shop. It just matches that vibe. Not exactly the same way, but I feel like it's kind of the type of music that you would see like they're just selling CDs at the counter of like the local coffee shop or whatever. I feel like this would be one of those CDs.
Yeah, it's very nice. I think pop needs a lot more of that smooth approach, because we're in a time where, I mean, 100 gigs is 100 gigs, but they're getting massive, and they're like technically the pop sound. So there's a lot of that abrasive, I don't want to call it noise core, but that's kind of what it is. Most pop stuff, Olivia Rodrigo, 100 gigs, and just other pop people, they need to start, or they don't need to do anything. But like, that's what's famous right now, so a lot of people are emulating it. And I think stuff like this, where it's not super Billie Eilish by any means other than the fact that it's like chill, but it's so pretty, like old style pop was.
I think that it's very much the thing that people talk about all the time, where, you know, trends are like a pendulum. It swings too far one way and then it starts to swing back the other way.
Yeah.
I think that we are reaching the peak currently of noisy pop music.
Hopefully.
Because I mean, just over the last 20 years, let's say, right? You start out with like, you know, Britney Spears and stuff like that. And then you get to like kind of the next level of that like aggression and noise is maybe like the Black Eyed Peas. And then all of a sudden like dubstep gets really popular in like 2011. And then, you know, it just kind of like keeps going and keeps going over the past like 20 years. I feel like we're at the point where it's going to start swinging back the other way.
Yeah, I mean, EDM can get shoved down your throat so much. And I love EDM. Like, this is stupid to say, but Russian hard bass is a phenomenal genre. I think a lot of modern music is so used to that wall of sound that the past wasn't used to. So yeah, hopefully it swings back in a more smooth direction like this, because you really need meaningful lyrics and like a delicate display of them, rather than people who are like, here's a meaningful lyrics, but also I'm in a deathcore band. So it's like, I feel it. You can actually understand this person and like get what's going on. Just so nice.
And like I said, just the arrangement of it, it's got that piano, it's got the shaker, it's got the 4-on-the-4 kick, and it's like that's all you need. It's such a basic formula that is very underutilized right now, and I think it works perfectly in this context. So where are we headed next?
We're headed to probably the polar opposite of that. This is a band called Psycho. They just put out an EP. I think it was their first upload ever. They didn't even come out with a single first. It was like, hey, we're a hardcore band from Connecticut. Here's our music. And I watched this project start. I was originally going to drum for it, and the drive was just too insane. It was like 3.5 hours there one time for practice for like an hour and a half, and then 3.5 hours back in the same day. I was just not feeling it, but I knew back then that they were going to be immaculate. They're so good. They're one of those hardcore bands. It's like beat down, but you can tell that it's crowd driven instead of like us. You're not writing it as like I'm a musician, I'm writing a song for myself. I want people to hear this and like react to it in a visceral way.
The crowd is implied.
Oh, entirely. There's a call out in the song.
Nice.
You do that live. You don't do that on recording. But yeah, this is Overburden by Psycho.